Thor: Love and Thunder is one of the most underwhelming Marvel movies we've had to date, and it was one of those Marvel movies that didn't succeed in the box office for Marvel Studios in Phase 4, with other projects that didn't succeed in the box office for Marvel Studios, but, one of the main ones was Thor: Love and Thunder. But one of the main highlights of the film was definitely Gorr the God Butcher, and it was, like I said, was an underwhelming movie, which we expected more from, especially from the potential that the plot and the storyline had from the comics. It didn't succeed from what we expected it to, especially as it was, Taika Waititi, and it had Gorr the God Butcher as the villain. And today's video is going to be about Gorr the God Butcher, as I just said, and how menacing he was in the Marvel comics. Now, I'm going to be doing videos like this in the future with different villains and different Marvel, heroes and villains in the comics, and compared, I guess, to their live-action counterparts. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and let's just get straight into it. So as I said, Love and Thunder was an underwhelming movie, a movie that definitely should have succeeded, especially with the plot and the potential it had in the MCU in Phase 4 of how many ideas they could have had with it. It was very similar to God of Thunder, the comic book series where Gorr was introduced. And Gorr the God Butcher is a menacing villain in the Marvel comics. He was created by Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic. His first appearance was, like I said just a minute ago, Thor: God of Thunder Part 1, which was in 2012, so, only about 11 years ago, and his appearance was last year. So, yeah, Gorr the God Butcher had a lot of potential in Love and Thunder, especially from what I'm going to talk about in this video. Now, Gorr the God Butcher definitely looked very different to what he did in Love and Thunder. He was way more scary in the comics, more menacing. He had a more alien looking, body. He didn't have a human body like he does in Love and Thunder. And he is very different in the comics. He has sharp teeth, an alien body. He has a symbiote as well that summons around him, which helps him to defeat gods around, the cosmos. And, I'm not saying Christian Bale did a bad job, because I thought he was great in Love and Thunder. Gorr was definitely the highlight of this film, but he definitely had more potential and definitely could have been much scarier looking in Love and Thunder with Christian Bale. But Christian Bale did do a great job playing him, and I feel like if he looked more scary and had a more scarier look in Love and Thunder, I felt that it could have been a lot better, I guess going to the horror side of it, because of how scary Gorr does look in the comics, with his alien look. He just looks so scary, and I mean, you got to, if you're a god butcher in the Marvel universe, I guess you have to look scary, and you got to look like how Gorr the God Butcher looked. Like, even when he didn't have the Necro Sword in the comics, and when he wasn't butchering gods, he still, looked menacing. I mean, he didn't have the Necro Sword that made him look like that, and he didn't have the symbiote that helped him summon the Necro Sword, but he did look scary, and he was a villain in the comics that, wasn't redeemed, and, he caused his own downfall. And his menacing look just made it 10 times worse, and I guess made him a better villain in the Marvel comics. In the comics, it is very different when it comes to killing gods compared to the MCU counterpart in Love and Thunder. He pretty much killed every god, barring a few, and the gods he killed included Indigar, Volstagg, and the Time Gods, and many, many more. There were many gods that he butchered and killed. I mean, it's in his name, Gorr the God Butcher. I mean, it's what you expect in the comics, but, we expected the same for the movie, and, we didn't get that. We didn't get what we expected. We didn't get to see him butchering many gods. I mean, we got to see him butcher one at the start, and then we saw one later on in the movie, which he does kill in the comics, which is one of Thor's friends, which Thor was good friends with, which they didn't really go over in this movie, in Love and Thunder. And, he was very menacing when it came to butchering gods. I mean, that was his whole thing in the comics, and they should have, made that in the movie as well. We should have seen him butchering more gods in the movie, but we didn't. But obviously in the comics we see that a lot. We see him kill a lot of gods. There are only a few that he didn't kill, like I just said. And he is very powerful, wielding the Necro Sword and butchering all of these gods, which, they were very powerful, and some of them he butchered in awful ways. One he crucified, the other ones he took their blood and travelled through time with their blood. And the Time Gods, especially one of them, traveling through time with their own blood and stuff like that. That's what makes him menacing and scary. And we didn't really have that in the movie. We didn't really look at, he did have a scary look there was moments in the movie where, he did look scary, but when it's compared to his counterpart, I think it's nothing compared to that. And we should have had that in Love and Thunder, but obviously we didn't get it. Gorr the God Butcher did create the God Bomb, and the God Bomb, it would kill all divine beings at once. That is different from what happened in Love and Thunder. I remember in the trailer when everyone thought that he used the God Bomb on that planet where there was no color, like near the end of the movie, the battle with Thor and Jane and Valkyrie, and yeah, everyone thought that was the God Bomb in it, and it wasn't. And he killed everyone for eternity and trying to wish for, he would have tried killing all the gods by wishing for it by eternity, but which proves that he didn't kill many gods, I guess, because we didn't see it, and two, he was trying to use eternity to try to do that, which is very underwhelming. Like I said before, it's weird how they didn't, his name, it's in the name, Gorr the God Butcher. We should have seen it more in the film, but we didn't, and he was going to do that by eternity. But in the comics, it was created by the God Bomb, which I feel like would be make him more of a menacing villain. Killing all divine beings at once, which not only gods but other I guess people that are part of the gods as well that he worshipped, not even only the ones that he worshipped, but gods around the whole universe that he would have slaughtered through the God Bomb, which would have made it easier for him, and that just makes him even more menacing. In the comics, Gorr does have connections to the first ever symbiote, which was the All Black, and that obviously makes him 10 times scarier in the comics, as the black goo from the symbiote binds to his body and allows him to summon the Necrosword, which he used to slaughter gods around the cosmos. Obviously, this isn't Venom, but the symbiote that was in the comics obviously is still menacing and makes him scarier. We did see a type of thing like that in the movie, but I don't think it was the symbiote that could make him go other places and that could summon him other places and that could summon him the Necrosword. I don't think that was a symbiote, but they didn't specify if it was or wasn't. So I'm going to assume that it isn't the symbiote because, we haven't had the symbiote in the MCU yet, other than at the end of No Way Home, but we haven't properly seen it yet. And the minions that he had they didn't look like symbiotes, and in the comics, the minions that he has are a part of the All Black, and they are symbiote aliens that he uses as minions to help him slaughter gods, and that wasn't the same in the movie. I don't know what they were. I guess they were just alien creatures. They weren't symbiotes. They definitely weren't symbiotes. And the Necrosword, I don't think they didn't mention anything to do with symbiotes. And Null, which originally Null had the Necrosword, that was where it was, the All Black. But they didn't mention that at all in the movie, which is very underwhelming because, it could have been another way to introduce the symbiotes to the MCU, because they're definitely going to do something with the symbiotes in the future of the MCU with Spider-Man, obviously, and the next Spider-Man 4, and maybe Secret Wars if they do the symbiote suit with Tom Holland Spider-Man. But yeah, maybe Marvel, it was something to do with Marvel Studios and symbiote with Sony, but I'm not too sure. They could have just hinted at it, but I guess there's different, in the contracts and stuff. But I think if they mentioned something to do with the symbiote with Gorr, then I think it would have made him 10 times more menacing than in the movie than he was. He was menacing, like I've said in the video. He is scary in the movie, but from what he is in the comics and how scary he is in the comics, it's no match at all. And finally, it took 3 versions of Thor to defeat Gorr in the comics. Now, Thor and Gorr did have a long rivalry in the MCU for thousands of years. Gorr did butcher gods for thousands of years. It wasn't over a short time. Compared to the movie, it was only, not even a year. It was maybe not even a month that he was slaughtering gods in Love and Thunder. Or maybe it was. We didn't really have a time skip or a time stamp for how long Gorr was butchering gods, or how long he was doing it. But in the movie, it definitely wasn't as long as it was in the comics. Thor and both of them had a rivalry over thousands of years, as Thor knew he was butchering gods, and they had a big rivalry. They did fight a few times, and it took 3 of the Thors to defeat Gorr across the multiverse to actually defeat Gorr, and Gorr never had a redemption, which makes him a scarier villain because I guess he never regretted it in the comics, but in the movie he did regret it after he got his daughter back and had eternity, and we obviously had that ending, but it makes him more menacing in the comics because he, I guess, didn't have any remorse for what he did, and he didn't really care, and he had no redemption from what he did after being defeated by the 3 Thors, which makes him a villain that, should have been feared in Love and Thunder, but makes him fearful in the comics. So yeah, this was a quick video, or a video about the backstory of Gorr the God Butcher in the Marvel Comics. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know down in the comments. And tell me what you guys think of Gorr the God Butcher in Love and Thunder, and tell me what you think of him in the Marvel Comics. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.